Hi guys, welcome to our first CFC Children's Ministry service. Bit of a shot in the dark. We thought we'd give this a go and hopefully you guys get some enjoyment out of it, and we'll do some more sessions for you guys coming down the track. But also too, there's some craft activities for you to do online as well. So you can, after this session, download the heart shape activity that's been uploaded for you. You just need to cut it out and you'll need some sticky tape, and then you'll be able to tape the heart together so the small piece goes on top of the large piece, and then colour it in, make it really special for mum and give it to her as a bookmark. So it's a bookmark to be completed for today for you to do. And then after the church session today, we've now created a special Zoom room for you guys. And I have some fun games for us to play when we get in. And when you do come in, you're going to need to bring a buzzer of some sort. So I'll remind you later on when we get into that Zoom session. But right now, let's talk about mums and how important they are. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to have a look at Proverbs, in Proverbs 31, about the virtues that we as mothers need to possess. And we're going to have a look at another mum in the Bible. We're going to have a look at Ruth. And we'll have a look at her and what was so special about Ruth in the Bible as well. So how many of you get, let's say, Vegemite sandwich? How many of you get a Vegemite sandwich every day for lunch? Couple? Some? Ham and cheese maybe? Can't have peanut butter because peanut butter you're not allowed to have at school anymore because of nut allergies, and you might have an allergy to peanut butter as well. But how many of you get the same sandwich every day? Do you get bored of it, or do you actually like it? Or do you want something new? So sometimes it's easy to lose sight that that Vegemite sandwich actually means something. It means that actually at home there's a mum, or it might be your dad, who loves you enough to make that sandwich and feed you every day. How cool is that? How many of you actually make your own lunch? There's a challenge. That's something to ask mum to do. Help you to make your own lunch for school every day. Maybe you don't get a Vegemite sandwich or ham and cheese, but you might get a hot lunch. Mum might make you chicken and salad or something like that. But it's generally mum that makes it happen, isn't it? Mums do lots of things that we actually take for granted as kids. We really do. They kiss us when we hurt ourselves. They make the pain go away. They read us stories. They sing songs to us. They take us places that we need to go. Unfortunately, we can't go too far at the moment, but they still do take us out. And they take us to fun places when we want to go. Mums always put your needs above their own. Not because they think you're going to pay them back, but just because they love you. How cool is that? Mums work pretty hard, and they deserve as much thanks and love as we can. And you know what? They work with dad as well. So together as a team, they make awesome things happen. So it's really important that you make sure you give your mum a big hug today. And if you're not with mum today, give dad a big hug and tell him thanks for the stuff that he does as well. And the next time that mum makes lunch for you, don't forget to thank her. How many did tell your mum that you loved her this morning? Did you tell your mum that you loved her? I told my mum. My mum's no longer with me anymore, but I tell her I love her. And that's important. My children tell me that they love me every day, whenever we speak. It's special. And I think today, especially because it's Mother's Day, is really important to honour our mums today and find something special to do for her. You know, being a mum's actually a full-time job. It doesn't mean like it's a 40-hour, 38, 40-hour week like you do when you work a full-time job. It's actually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It means that we don't get a break. We don't get holidays. We don't get sick leave. It means that we do actually have to be a little bit flexible, and we need to be able to change our plans at a moment's notice. And that means that mums can't have a full-time job. It just means that we have to balance things out to make sure that things are. And then when something goes wrong, we drop all that so that we can be there for you. Our mums actually do a lot for us, so much more than what we think. And I think if we sat here for a while, it'd be a pretty long list that we would think about. I mean, let's think about a couple of them. Mum probably usually she makes your lunch. She probably might even make your breakfast, especially depending on which age you are. Or she might be teaching you to make your breakfast, helping you with some independent living skills. She'd make your dinner. She would do your washing. Your mum might even make your bed. If you're lucky enough to have a mum that makes your bed for you, you are pretty lucky to have that. Maybe that's something mum can help you do, learn to make your own bed. Mums help us wash our clothes. We do ironing clothes. She helps keep the house clean. She helps do other chores around the house. And doing all those special things, she goes shopping, and not just fun shopping. I don't consider grocery shopping fun shopping. So we go shopping as well to do all those things. And, you know, when we need it most, mums always give us a hug. They're pretty special. Mums actually have one of the most important jobs to do. They need to teach you how to follow Jesus. So what it means is that if we've got parents that take God's commands to teach children to love God seriously, then we need to take our job seriously. And part of our job as mums is to teach you guys about God and about Jesus and about the Bible and all the things that go with it. The 10 Commandments and all the ways that happen. So it is really important, more than anything. They want you to come to know God and love him just as much as we do. And at one day, when you grow up and have children of your own, that you'll teach your children God's ways. Whether you're a mum or a dad, it's important for both parents to be teaching you God's ways. And mums do this without a paycheck. We don't get paid for it. I think we do in some ways. I like hugs and kisses. That's important. That's my pay. And seeing my kids do well. And that doesn't mean that they're being successful. That just means that they're doing life and successfully working through things that God's appointed them to do. And you know what? Parents don't parent just because we want to get something in return. We do it because we love you. And God wants us to love our parents back in return. There's a really awesome story in the Bible on the book of Ruth. And in Ruth's story, it happens to be that, let's have a read. Let's read Ruth's story and then let's talk about that in a minute. So let me just pull this up. So in Ruth chapter 1, verses 6 to 17, and if you've got your Bible there, which would be really handy, or if you've got it on your phone like I have, you can read it out through there. So the story is about Naomi and Ruth. Then she arose with her daughter as daughters-in-law, that she might return from the country of Moab. For she had heard the country of Moab that the Lord had visited his people by giving them bread. Therefore she went out from the place she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went on their way to return to the land of Judah. And Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, Go, return to each of your mother's house. Now, Ruth's daughter-in-laws had both lost their husbands, which were Ruth's sons. So Ruth's sons had died in battles, and so they were now widows. And so they were still, so Ruth was saying, go home back to your family. So just to give you a bit of understanding. And Naomi said to her, go return to your mother's house. Sorry, it was Naomi, not Ruth. Ruth was the daughter-in-law. The Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead with me. The Lord grant you that you might find peace in each house of her husband. So she kissed them, and they lifted up their voices and wept. And then she said to her, surely we will return with you to your people. But Naomi said, turn back. My daughters, why will you go with me? Are there still sons in my womb that they may be your husbands? Turn back, my daughters. Go, for I'm too old to have a husband. If I should stay, I have hope. If I should have a husband tonight and bear sons, would you wait for them until they're grown? So she's just telling them, ladies, go home, go be with your families. So this is what Naomi is telling Ruth. No, my daughters, for it grieves me very much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord has gone against me. And they lifted up their voices and cried again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. And she said, look, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law. And Ruth said, entreat me not to leave you or to go back from following after you. Wherever you go, I will go. And wherever you lodge, I will lodge. So wherever you stay, I will stay. And your people shall be my people, and your God shall be my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. So the Lord do to me, and more also, if anything but death departs you and me. So Ruth had a real understanding about what it meant to stay. She understood that Naomi's family and the people and the Israelites at that time had favor from God, and she didn't want to move away from that. She understood what her husband's principles were, and she wanted to remain faithful to that. Now, Naomi had lost everything. She lost her husband. She lost her 2 boys. She had no choice but to go home and hope that someone in her family would actually take pity on her. So it's not a bit like today where we have Social Security and JobKeeper to help us. They have nothing. So unless the family comes in to help, people are on their own and they've got to try and survive. And if there's no male figure in the household, then for women in particular, it was quite tough. And she didn't actually want Ruth to suffer with her, and selflessly told Ruth to go home. So Ruth actually refused that. She said that she loved Naomi like her own mother, and she vowed to take care of Naomi. So she wanted to take care of Naomi and look after her in her aging days. And she would provide for them both. So she would actually go and work for them. And she did. She did do that. She went and worked in the fields where she ended up meeting Boaz, who then she married and took care of her. So God provided at the end of the day. And she would worship God and her adopted mother. So Ruth showed Naomi the same selfless love that Naomi had shown her. She followed God's command to love and honor her mother. So when you think about all that your mum does for you every day, one day really seems hardly enough to actually say thank you, doesn't it? Really, when you think about it. Mums always go the extra mile. How many times has mum raced you to a birthday party? Or has she given up her own plans to take care of you when you're sick? How hard does she work every day just to keep you healthy, well-fed, and strong? So if you haven't already today, I encourage you, make sure you go say I love you to your mum today. And if you're not with mum today, give her a call. Give her a call. Tell her that you love her. And then you should say it again this afternoon. We make it a point in our household that we never leave the door without saying goodbye or I love you, because we're only ever guaranteed today. When you start going back to school, it's probably important then to say too, love you, mum. See ya. Love you, dad. Bye. It's always important to say it several times throughout the day. It never has meaningless words. It always has meaning to make sure. There's another way today that we could actually show mum that we love her. Think about, and I'm not talking about making a card or gifts or anything like that. Why don't you do something for mum around the house? How about doing one of her jobs that she has to do so she can actually have a break? If you're allowed to, you could make her a cuppa. or some lunch, because we can't go out today, but we could make mum lunch or help make dinner or set the table, or what else could you do? You could do the dishes, help do the dishes. You're all old enough to be able to do that. Help out with some of those things. So you can ask for some of those things to do that. We can all sacrifice a little bit of time just to give it back to our mums, can't we? Just a little bit. Just a little bit before we ask, Mum, can I do this? Mum, can I do that? Our mums are pretty special, and they are absolutely a gift from God. They will always be there when we need them. And it's really important that we tell all those people in our lives that we love them every day. That's really, really important. In our words, in our actions, it's always important to remember to say, I love you every day of the year. Let's have a look at see what Proverbs says about the virtuous wife. So in Proverbs 31 verse 10, it says, who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. For the heart of a husband safely trusts her. So he will have no lack of gain. So this woman works hard. Your mum works hard. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. They work together in harmony. She seeks wool and flax and willingly works with her hands. So our mums are hard workers. She's like the merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. So mum goes and seeks the food that we need. So in these days, we go grocery shopping. So she'll go out and buy the groceries and bring them out and make sure you've got clothes to wear and all those things that you need, which is great. She also rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and a portion for her maidservants. She considers a field and buys it. So mums are pretty shrewd in working with money as well. So they're business women. From her profits, she plants a vineyard. She girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. She perceives that her merchandise is good and her lamp does not go out by night. So that means that our mums are always looking for good options and things to help our family life be a lot better. She stretches out her hands to the distaff and her hand holds the spindle. She extends her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her hands to the needy. So when we bring all our friends over for afternoon tea, mum feeds them all. That also means that a friend in need or a person that might be in need, our mums tend to reach out and help them too. She's not afraid of snow for her household, for her household is clothed with scarlet. So God takes care of all the needs. So there's no lack. They won't be cold. They won't be hungry. She makes tapestry for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple, which is really important in Israel's times, back in the times when this book was written. Her husband is known in the gates, so he's well known in the community, and he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies sashes for the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in the time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom. So our mums are wise. Sometimes we think, nah, mum, you don't know it. But I guarantee you when you get older, you'll go, yeah, mum, you were right. She shall rejoice in time to come, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. Our mums are pretty merciful and kind. She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. So our mums are not sitting around all day doing nothing. They are busy, busy, busy mums, busy, busy bees. If you've got younger brothers and sisters in the household, mum's going to be pretty busy looking after them just as much as she's looking after you, especially at the moment where mum's probably having to homeschool you as well. And for those of you who are homeschooled, your mum not only homeschools you, but she also then helps take care of the household as well. So it'd be really good that you listen to those lessons that mum's teaching you and take on board those lessons so that you can help grow and excel and be a blessing to her. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many daughters have done well, but you excel them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing. So being beautiful doesn't mean everything. But a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. How awesome is that? Her children call her blessed. Our mums have the best intentions for us. They always have done. So let's show that today. Let's go give them a big hug. Make sure you tell your mum that you love her. And fill out the craft activity that's there for you to do online. And hopefully we will see you in the kids' room later on after church. Until then, we'll say bye.